Namaskar. We're almost done with the secrets of success. I thought today, they're really secrets. Even though these principles are on the surface, it's a common sense things, but they're secret. The world is in a state of suffering, and we don't have to suffer actually. We don't have to. It is really our choice. And because of those principles are secret, they're hidden, we are still suffering. We can choose either to be successful or unsuccessful, either to remain in the state of joy or in the state of suffering. It is completely our choice. But many people are of opinion, no, I'm like this. And I have to adjust with what I have. They don't understand that this can be changed. So the sixth principle is the most neglected one. People are not aware that this principle really has a great effect on our body and mind. And this principle alone can initiate the chain of changes that will bring us to the success, to mundane success, and ideally to the highest success of life, to the spiritual success. What is this principle? Guess. Shashtancha Pramitahara. Sixth is balanced diet. Ahara means food, and Pramita means balanced. There is another word, Parimita. It means measured, not too much, not too little. And Pramita means measured, not too much, not too little, and moreover, not only measured, it is also balanced. Enough nutrients, fats, carbohydrates, proteins, minerals, vitamins, enough of that to sustain the body. And not only that, food must be of a certain quality, energy-wise. There has to be a certain vibration in the food. This is very interesting. Yoga philosophy believes this world to be a vibration. If you take an atom of hydrogen and go deeper within, and still deeper, and still deeper, you will find that there is nothing there. There is a huge emptiness and vibration, frequency. So many thousand years ago, yogis have understood that this world is nothing but a wave in consciousness. There is an ocean of consciousness, supreme consciousness, Paramapurusha. And in that consciousness, there are waves originating and transforming. One wave gets metamorphosed into another wave, and then still another wave, and still another wave, and still another wave. And through the series of this metamorphosis, this diverse universe is created. We human beings, our ancestry is a single cell that has occurred long time ago on this planet Earth. From that single cells, through a series of metamorphoses, we arrived. Now there are elephants, there are cows, there are cats, there are dogs, there are human beings, there is grass, there is everything, just from a single living cell. So one vibration transmutes and transmutes and transmutes, and we get the multitude of vibrations. We get the created world. Consciousness is the base, but what creates the vibration? The energy creates the vibration. We call it Prakriti, or nature, force of nature. That energy consists of three modes of energy. And these three modes of energy is in everywhere, in every process, in every thought. In every thought. Anyway, I would like to talk much about it, but I would like to make it shorter also. So in every thought there are three energies, in everything. And in those energies, the bliss and the suffering and success and failure, everything is in those vibrations, because everything is vibrational. So this is the most important science to understand. If you understand that, you understand the world. You understand the world, you understand yourself, and you can be successful. If a scientist understands the workings of the electrons, they can create the electronic device. If you understand the most fundamental nature of this universe, you will understand how to achieve success. So this, what are the three energies? First one, the subtle, sentient principle. It gives sentiency. It gives the wisdom. It gives intellect. It gives intuition. And it gives, the most importantly, the joy of existence. You might experience sometime, you might have experienced, when you don't think anything, when you don't do anything, you are just there, feeling the joy of being. I just exist. Nothing happens. Nothing needs to happen. This is a perfect moment. So at this moment, your mind is under influence of sentient principle. And if you are most of the time under influence of sentient principle, you will feel constant joy. Today, this morning, yesterday night, we were singing some song, and then we were laughing, and just we were, staying by the stairs and talking with each other. And I marked in my mind that we are such a happy family. People who are not relatives, but came together because we are practitioners of meditation and yoga, and we are living now together, like 20 people together in one yoga center, working, moving, cooperating with each other, and constantly so much joy. We are laughing, and it's just looking at each other, seeing each other is so much joy. You don't have to do anything, you don't have to achieve anything. There is so much joy already, and it is so remarkable. That is the influence of sentient principle, Sattva Guna. The next principle, Raja Guna, mutative principle. Mutation is the change. This principle causes the consciousness to change, to move from one shape into another shape. Cannot stay in one shape. Have to move. Have to change. So when the mind is under influence of that principle, it is fast, it is dynamic, it have to move from one place to another, from one task to another. Ideal combination for the success in life is to have maximum sentient principle and some rajasic, dynamic principle. If there is this combination, you still feel happy, you still feel joyful, and you feel dynamic. I want to do many things. If only sentient principle is there, you will sit in meditation only. You will not do anything. And that is the final state. When you become a saint, you will do like that. You will just sit there, and the changes will happen around you. Your powerful emanation, your powerful inspiration will activate other people, and they will do. And you will just sit there. So this is a good combination, sentient and rajasic. And Our body is already composed of these three energies. I will talk about Tamaguna a little later. It is already composed of three energies. So the spiritual practice is a gradual purification. You remove the static force, you remove the dynamic force, and you come to the sentienthood. So it's not that you have to purposefully take something to complete yourself, not to have a Rajasic principle there. No. Be as sentient as possible. You try to remain under the influence of sentient principle. And already there is so much of static principle, there is so much of the dynamic principle in the body and mind, what we already have. So dynamic principle causes you to move. It gives desire. Desire creates suffering. If there is a desire, there will be suffering. There are subtle desires, there are crude desires. Subtle desires, no suffering, not so much suffering. Crude desires, too much suffering. It creates competition. I want to be the number one, the king of kings. I cannot be number two. So this competition, even in families I've seen, someone has done something great and another person just cannot tolerate. He wants to do better, he wants to do greater. And it disturbs the harmony. It disturbs the happiness. Then tamasic force. Tamasic force creates staticity, immobility. There is a sentient immobility, motionless state. But in that state, there is no sleep. There is a potential. You know that you can move the mountains with a sheer thought wave. You just need to desire, but you don't desire. But you have all the potential, you have all the power. And here, at the state of Tama, you are also motionless, immobile. But why you are immobile? Because you are powerless. A person wakes up in the morning and he feels, oh my God, another day. This is Tama, static principle. Or can you clean the house? Cleaning the house. Okay, I will think about it. Have you cleaned the house? I have started to think about it. So everything has become a heroic act for you. To throw the garbage is really an act of heroism, and you have to prepare for 1 week. I will have to do it. I was born in Soviet Union, and there were at times hard times, and there were some shortages of food. So people, they used to grow potatoes on the plantation. So I know one man. It's like 4 times you have to go to the field to plant, to weed, and then you create some cultivation process, and then finally harvest. So every time is a great stress for him to go. So just before going, he gets drunk like anything, and his family have to basically carry him to the field. It's just like in his mind is so huge to do the harvesting potatoes. It's so huge, so difficult. So when the mind is under influence of this principle, life becomes so difficult, so hard to do anything. And it's such a tremendous act of will to do even a simple thing. On the other hand, if you are under influence of sentient principle and dynamic principle, it is beautiful, it's joyful to do something. And you do it easily, smilingly, laughingly. and you don't suffer. And then also, like sentient force stimulates spiritual instinct in you. Spiritual instinct is to expand your mind, to become better, to move towards infinity, to be in harmony with the Supreme, to feel the rhythm of God. That is the spiritual instinct. To be in love with the universe, to feel the heartbeat of the universe. Then to be useful, to serve the world, and then finally to merge with the source of existence. Those are the spiritual instincts, and they get stimulated if you cultivate the sentient force in life. And if you cultivate the static force in life, another 4 instincts are stimulated, which represent our animal nature. Desire for food, desire to sleep, self-preservation instinct, fear, and desire to procreate. These 4. Primitive existence. So it is really our choice. We cultivate that, we get that. We cultivate that, we get that. This is really our choice. I've seen with my own eyes so many examples. When people change their diet, and this is one element of cultivating different energy. They say it, and then they come to learn meditation. And then I talk to them, how are you and what you do. And I find out, half a year ago they changed the diet. A special diet, a certain diet will awaken in you love for spirituality. Remove the suffering from your mind and will create desire to liberate yourself from suffering. Otherwise, other type of food, other type of diet will put you to sleep, to the sleep of the soul. I just move without change, without purpose, without goal. I live, but I already internally I don't feel like living. I'm sleeping, moving like a walking dead. Of course, not only diet, everything what we do cultivates this energy of that energy. But diet has a great impact on the body and mind. Everything which is there is under influence of 3 principles: sattva, raja and tama. But one principle is dominant. So in the food also, one principle is dominant. Some foods are dominated by static force, some other by sentient force, and some other by mutative force. So we have to choose carefully which food we will take. You can see our body as a government, as a parliament. There is a queen there, like a British parliament. There is a queen, your unit mind, or the king. There is a house in the parliament, House of the Lords, House of Lords, and it is the minds of the organs. The organs have mind, they are microcosms. Let's say the heart. There are stories, I have read many. After the transplantation of the heart or the kidney or the liver, the person starts to feel different. Even sometimes they see the dreams that the donor used to see before he died. Interesting. The transplantation of the organ changed the entire nature of the person for a time being. So those, they also affect. But we cannot expel the heart. Go away, I don't like you. The heart is there. We have to be with it. But what we can expel is the house of option, the house of commons. Each cell is a living being, tiny living thing, and it has instinct. And the cell, which cells are born in the body? The cell lives about 21 days. So if you do some changes, in 21 days those changes will be stabilized. So the cell will live 21 days, and the mind of the cell depends on what food the cell is made of. We are made of food. We eat something, we drink something, the sunshine, we breathe. So all those things that we ingest provide the building materials for our cells. And when cell is composed of those materials, with that vibration, our body breaks up and then reassembles everything within itself. And then if you take the crude vibration, then the crude cells are born in your body. And those crude cells, they generate crude desires. It's like the queen is of opinion that we have to do spiritual practice. But the cells, and there are many of them, billions and billions, they say, no, 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 we are of opinion that we have to sleep. The queen is of the opinion that we have to go and do something and fulfill that great, achieve that great accomplishment. But the cells are of the opinion that we have to go and maybe go to the pub and have a good time. So there is a struggle. Your unit mind, your microcosm might desire something, but your body does not support that desire. And you perceive everything as your own desire. You think, I want that food, I want to listen to this music, I want to see that movie, I want to mix with this kind of people. You think this is your desire, but this is not your desire. This is the desire of food you have eaten. You have eaten the cow, you have eaten the pig. This is not your desires. They depend on the nature of the food you have eaten. So wise people, they don't take food indiscriminately. They understand this food is beneficial for my purposes. I have such goal in life. If my goal in life is just to take it easy, to sleep and to die, eat, sleep and then die, then the most crude food is beneficial for that purpose. But if you have an ambition, if you want to leave a mark after yourself on this planet, then you have to take another source of food. So 3 categories of food are there, 3 energies. Sentient foods are grains, legumes, fruits, vegetables, dairy products. Dairy products, there is a big discussion going on now. I'm sure there will be comments also about it. I'm willing to participate in that discussion, but now there is no scope for that discussion. Of course, there are many questions of ethical nature about milk, and I'm aware of those things, but now there is no scope for this discussion. Then Rajasic food, the foods that causes conscious to change, to metamorphose one shape into another. So if you take Rajasic food, it's very interesting state. You go from between heaven and hell, always. You are in heaven, you don't like to stay there, you want to go to hell. You are in hell, you don't like to be in hell, you want to go to heaven. So the person who is of Rajasic nature, he is always, either he is a sinner or he is really a pious man. And he moves from those 2 states. Cannot just choose one of them. So that's the nature of the Rajasic food. And Rajasic food is coffee, tea, chocolate, the carbonated drinks, the stimulating food. So the wise people, they also would like to, the wise people, they like to remain in heaven. They don't like to go to hell. But they feel the drive from the body to go to hell. And they say, oh, no, body, wait a minute. They change the diet. They come to closer to the sentient energy. And that desire to go to hell is not anymore there. so Rajasic food, is better also to be avoided. Of course, it is not as harmful as static energy, but also better to be avoided. And static foods, static energy is meat, fish, eggs, mushroom, onion, garlic. People will always say, what's the problem with onion, garlic? Very useful, medicinal, so many vitamins are there. You have to try it out. Maybe useful for the body, but definitely harmful for the mind. If you maintain a pure diet, sentient diet, at least for 21 days or 30 days or 3 months better, you will develop this new feeling, new state of consciousness. You will feel differently. And then, once you change, then you make an experiment. Eat some little garlic or some little onion. First of all, you will feel that you become intellectually less sharp. Emotionally, you become dull. And that you don't like at all. Because once you have enjoyed that state of subtlety, just that, and then when you become dull, it's just like, what? What is this? What is this existence? Miserable. I don't like to be there. I have experienced several times. It happened in the plane. I have got some food and I thought it is good, but then I got an aftertaste, the feeling of garlic, and just became dull for several hours until the effect is over. And then all sorts of intoxicants, alcohol, tobacco, drugs. So these are tamasic foods. So what is the wise man to do? What is the yogi to do? Spiritual aspirant to do? We should try to avoid tamasic foods as if it is a poison, because it is really a poison to our soul. We should try to avoid Rajasic food as much as possible. It is strictly forbidden for the sannyasis, for the monks and nuns, and sort of undesirable for householder, for the family people. The family people, actually, here in our yoga center, I see that family people, they like to follow the same rules that sannyasis, the monks, follow. People perceive the rules as some restrictions and limitations, stripping the freedom away from them. But if you experienced a different lifestyle, if you experience those rules, you see so much benefit. And even someone wants to take those rules away from you, you say, no, 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 no. These are important principles for me. They give so much joy to me. So I see family people, they also like to follow very strict diet, just like monks and nuns. Because that it is not a restriction imposed on them, rather it is a revelation that leads you to the success. So avoid these two categories of food. This food is considered to be impure, Rajasic food and Tamasic food. And sentient food is considered to be pure. Of course, there are so many more nuances, and I can talk another hours and hours about food, how to balance the food, how to cook food, what thoughts has to be there when you cook the food. Everything affects it. Even sentient food, cooked with the bad thoughts, becomes a bad food. And there are so many things to talk about. That's why we are making a course, but especially about diet. Different things, acidic food, alkaline food, the prana, vital energy, and so on and so on and so on. Theoretical part and practical part, how to cook, the recipes. So you, if you are subscribed, you will get everything of that. If you are not, you subscribe and you will get it. And it is really a very useful science about taste, how to balance the tastes, bitter, sweet, sour, also very, very important for the calmness of the mind, for the harmony with the relationship. So much treasures are there. So you be with us and you will learn all of this in time, and it will benefit you greatly. So I think I made it clear that success and diet, they're linked. Because if we are in a strong state of mind, if we are in a spiritual state of mind, everything comes easy. If you are in a crude state of mind, everything comes with a great struggle. And even that, it comes, but still you are not enjoying. Still you feel suffering. Suffering is there. Even if everything is around, if everything is there in your life, but still nothing is there, because internally you are unhappy. So in my experience, I also testify that it has a great influence over the body and the mind. When I changed my diet, everything has changed. Thank you very much. Oh, no, not thank you very much. So Shiva has said, the first principle of success is to have a firm determination. I must be successful in my mission. Second is to have reverence, to have faith in what you are doing, to know that this action is true and invest the entire energy there, to be maximally sincere in what you do. Third is to have a guru, to have a teacher, and respect, have reverence to the teacher. Fourth is to be in a balanced state of the mind, free from all the complexes. Fifth is to control, to be able to restrain your sensory and motor organs. And sixth is to have a proper diet. And after speaking all this, he has said, Saptam naiva vidyate. He drew the line. There is no seventh. There is no seventh. In this universe, there is no seventh secret of success. Actually, nowadays there are so many success and coaching trainings, and 10 habits, 7 habits, 55 habits, 55 secrets. Actually, they all come in the scope of this 6. There is no 7th. If you follow this 6, there is not even 1% chance. There is no slightest chance that you not become successful. There is 100% certainty that you will be successful if you follow these secrets. Why they are secrets? Because nobody knows. It is evident, but people are not aware. And I tried my best to make you aware. It is a common sense. Of course, it's nothing new. But I tried my best to make you aware of the importance of those principles. Practice them one by one and achieve the greatest success in life, in mundane life and in spiritual life especially. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Stay with the meditation steps.